everyone, and welcome back to another session of Explore the Tarot. I'm using the Pagan Otherworlds deck for this whole series, and I'm just going to shuffle. This deck is getting smaller and smaller as we work through the cards. Okay, today's card is the Ten of Cups. Wow, it's such a beautiful energy, this one. It just puts a smile on my face. I love this design as well. Okay, the Ten of Cups. Let's see what archetype we draw to go with the Ten of Cups. Alright, I'm feeling drawn to this one. The Healer. Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful combination. It's funny how those ribbons look a bit like snakes. Okay, well, let's see what Kim Krans has to say about the Healer archetype. I know I already love this combination. Okay. The Healer. The light worker, the gifted, the old soul. Though some claim the work of the healer as their gift and name it as their dharma, the force of this archetype is within everyone. It is our natural inclination to remember, to return to, and to reclaim that central and eternal life force from which we so easily drift away. In Sanskrit, the word avidya means forgetting, and it is said that this is the source of all suffering and disease. The healer's mission then becomes to move through the comfort of forgetting, through the veils of ignorance and denial, to reveal the radiance that already exists. The healer approaches this in multiple ways, from multiple angles, knowing the cycle of healing is not linear. It is a multi-layered and circuitous process, always leading back to its own origin, much like the Ouroboros. The image of the serpent is eternally tied to healing and medicine. Both Western, the caduceus, and Eastern, kundalini, study the serpent and its power. The wounded healer is not someone who was wounded and is now healed. It is someone who continues to courageously break open the self and ego as a means for deep integration. Self-contained, grateful, awake. Wow. This image of the serpent is really speaking to me in both of these cards. And you can see the ribbon here looks a bit like sort of serpentine as well. And something that's also really striking to me is that obviously the Ten of Cups comes at the end of the Suit of Cups cycle. The cups are talking about emotions. They kind of go through this whole journey of coming to terms with our own feelings and riding the waves of our own emotions. And the Ten of Cups really symbolises a kind of, traditionally it symbolises a kind of happily ever after. But I think what this combination is wanting to remind us of is that the Ten of Cups isn't actually the end, even though it represents the full completion of a cycle. It's actually just the coming to terms of one aspect of yourself. It represents the full integration of something, something in yourself, a feeling or emotion that you've gone through this whole journey with. And now you're coming to terms with it, you can integrate it into your being, and then you start the cycle all over again with something new. It's almost a bit like peeling an onion. A Jungian phrase comes to mind about us always spiraling back in upon ourselves. I think he called it circumambulation or something like that. And yeah, so that image really speaks to me here. I suppose something that's really coming to me now is that we are all the healer in some sense. It's not some special magical power that only some people have and some others don't. Everyone has this capacity, and it begins with yourself. It begins with looking at your own wounds and being willing to really be honest with yourself about what those wounds are, the nature of them, and what you need to do to be able to heal them and integrate them and come to this place. Come to this place of integration within the Ten of Cups. And you know, I think all of these ribbons of different colours represent that. You know, we hold so much inside of us. We're a container of so many complicated, complex, sometimes conflicting, often colliding emotions and feelings. So, you know, how can you come to a place of self-acceptance within yourself to really begin to appreciate your own emotional landscape? Yeah, I think that's sort of the main message that I'm getting from this combination. It feels very short today. I want to just go over Kim Kranz's description again. The word avidya means forgetting, and it is said that this is the source of all suffering and disease. The healer's mission then becomes to move through the comfort of forgetting, through the veils of ignorance and denial, to reveal the radiance that already exists. Yeah, that's so beautiful. Again, this really relates to this idea of working through a cycle, and that when you come to the end of a cycle, and you start all over again, you start again in the spirit of having taken on some new wisdom, right? It's not that you forget everything and begin all over again from scratch. You're always kind of slightly building up upon your own knowledge of yourself. And so this healing process is not a linear one. It's one that you have to work through over and over and over. And it's often said that the mind works through repetition. You know, it learns through repetition. And that's what's really speaking to me here about the process of healing. It's a non-linear process. It requires repetition. It requires an openness. It requires remembrance. It requires acknowledgement and being able to celebrate yourself as well. That's what this card is all about. I mean, in this card you can see a river meandering in the background and a little house here, and it all looks very happy. It's like a kind of happy looking domestic landscape, you know, and these cups are sort of arranged like a rainbow. It has this feeling of homecoming to it, of celebration, of kinship, of solidarity. Yeah, solidarity is a big word here, I think, and solidarity is such an important aspect of healing. Solidarity with yourself, solidarity with others who you see are wounded in the same way that you have been or are, and willing to include this whole spectrum of people within your sphere of acceptance, and the whole spectrum of feelings that you experience within yourself, within that sphere of acceptance. So some questions that you might want to ask yourself with this combination is, you know, what aspects of myself do need to heal? You know, where do I feel particular wounds coming up? Often we can look to our own childhoods, the beginning points in our lives, to really dig deep into where we might be carrying feelings of hurt or anger or pain. Also acknowledging how far you've come. You know, take a look back in the past year, which has been tough for so many people, and think about all the ways that you've grown. Think about all the things that you've learned along the way, and take a moment to celebrate yourself and acknowledge that, and choose to see yourself as